You know, it feels like society sometimes just expects men, especially as they get a bit older, to just accept certain things. Things like, well, things not working quite the way they used to. It can be a really private struggle, something that weighs heavily on a man, affecting not just intimacy, but confidence, how you feel about yourself. It's a painful reality that many face, often in silence, wondering why their body isn't cooperating anymore. Maybe blaming age, maybe blaming stress, but often overlooking a hidden culprit right on their dinner plate. What if I told you that some of the foods you might be eating regularly, maybe even considering harmless, are actually working against you, actively hindering that vital blood flow and hormone balance needed for a strong erection, especially after 60? It's a secret many don't realize, and it's far more impactful than you might think. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on 5 specific foods that could be silently sabotaging your erections. We'll look at why they do it and, more importantly, what you can do about it. This isn't about deprivation. It's about empowerment and making informed choices for a healthier, more fulfilling life at any age. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. A common habit tied to these foods that you absolutely need to be aware of. Let's dive right in. Shall we? The first culprit we need to talk about, and it's a big one, is surprisingly common and hidden in plain sight in so many things we eat every day. It's not just about the obvious sweet treats. Although they play a part, I'm talking about excessive amounts of added sugars and refined carbohydrates. Now, I know you've probably heard sugar is bad for you, but let's connect the dots specifically to erectile function after 60. Think of your body's vascular system, the network of blood vessels that needs to be in top condition to get blood flowing where it needs to go. Added sugars and refined carbs, like white bread, pastries, sugary drinks, and pretty much anything made with white flour, cause rapid spikes in your blood sugar. Over time, these spikes lead to something called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which sounds exactly like what they do. They essentially age your blood vessels, making them stiff and less elastic. Imagine a garden hose. When it's new and flexible, water flows through easily, but if that hose becomes hard and brittle over time, the water flow is restricted. That's what sugar and refined carbs do to your arteries, including the tiny, delicate ones that supply blood to the penis. Reduced blood flow is one of the primary causes of erectile dysfunction, especially as we get older and our bodies are naturally a bit less resilient. Beyond damaging blood vessels, high sugar intake also messes with your insulin levels, which can lead to insulin resistance and eventually type 2 diabetes. Diabetes is a major risk factor for ED because it severely damages nerves and blood vessels throughout the body. So, that seemingly innocent pastry or the extra sugar in your coffee is contributing to a problem that goes much deeper than just a sweet tooth. Think about how many processed foods are loaded with hidden sugars, salad dressings, sauces, cereals, even supposedly savory snacks. It's everywhere. Your body breaks down refined carbs into sugar very quickly. So a big bowl of white pasta or a large slice of white bread is essentially just a slower way of getting a sugar rush. This constant bombardment of sugar and easily digestible carbs creates a state of chronic low-grade inflammation in the body, further damaging blood vessels and disrupting hormone signals. Testosterone levels, crucial for libido and overall male health, can also be negatively impacted by consistently high blood sugar and insulin levels. So, what can you do? It's not about cutting out all carbs forever. It's about choosing the right kind. Swap white bread and pasta for whole grain versions. Whole grains are digested more slowly, leading to a gradual rise in blood sugar. Reach for fruits to satisfy a sweet craving. They contain fiber which helps moderate sugar absorption. Be a detective when you're at the grocery store. Read labels. Look for added sugars or ingredients like corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, sucrose, dextrose, or maltose listed early in the ingredient list. These are all forms of sugar, Limit sugary drinks entirely. Water, unsweetened tea, or coffee are much better choices. If you love baking, experiment with natural sweeteners in moderation or reduce the amount of sugar called for in recipes. It takes conscious effort at first, but slowly reducing your reliance on added sugars and refined carbs will make a significant difference not just in your energy levels and weight, but crucially, in the health of your circulatory system, paving the way for better blood flow. Now, moving on from the sweet stuff, let's talk about another food group that can be particularly detrimental when consumed excessively, especially for men over 60. Processed meats. I'm talking about things like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, and many prepackaged burgers. These aren't just sources of saturated fat, which is a known contributor to heart disease, and heart disease directly impacts blood flow needed for erections. But they also often contain high levels of sodium and nitrates or nitrites used as preservatives. While some studies are ongoing, there's increasing concern about how these nitrates and nitrites can affect the body's production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is absolutely essential for achieving an erection. It's a molecule that signals the blood vessels in the penis to relax and expand, allowing blood to rush in. When nitric oxide production is impaired, achieving or maintaining an erection becomes difficult. Processed meats are also often high in unhealthy fats and cholesterol. A diet high in these components contributes to the buildup of plaque in your arteries, a condition called atherosclerosis. Think of those arteries narrowing and becoming less flexible. This plaque buildup restricts blood flow throughout the body, including to the areas needed for sexual function. It's like trying to push water through a pipe that's getting narrower and narrower from the inside. The heart has to work harder, and less blood gets through to the extremities, including, well, you know where. Furthermore, the high sodium content in processed meats can contribute to high blood pressure, another significant risk factor for ED because it further damages blood vessels. The manufacturing process of processed meats often involves smoking, curing, salting, or adding preservatives to enhance flavor and shelf life. These processes can create compounds like heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons (PAHs) when cooked at high temperatures, which are linked to various health problems, including inflammation. And as we discussed earlier, chronic inflammation is a silent enemy of healthy blood vessels and overall function. So, what are the alternatives? Focus on lean sources of protein, fresh, unprocessed meats like chicken breast, turkey, or lean cuts of beef or pork in moderation are much better choices. Fish, especially fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, are fantastic because they are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are excellent for cardiovascular health and reducing inflammation. The opposite effect of processed meats. Plant-based proteins are also great. Think beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, and nuts instead of a hot dog. Try a grilled chicken sausage made with minimal additives or a plant-based sausage if you enjoy them. Instead of loading up on deli meats for sandwiches, use leftover cooked chicken or turkey, or opt for healthy spreads like hummus or avocado. Reading labels here is also key. Look for products with minimal ingredients, low sodium content, and avoid those listing nitrates or nitrites. Making conscious choices to reduce or eliminate processed meats from your diet can significantly improve your cardiovascular health and, in turn, your erectile function. It's about fueling your body with building blocks for health, not ingredients that cause damage. And remember, these changes build on each other. By cutting down on both refined sugars and processed meats, you're giving your body a much better chance to perform optimally. All right, let's continue our look at foods that can put a damper on things. The third food group we need to discuss, and this one might be a bit surprising for some, is trans fats and excessive saturated fats, particularly from deep-fried foods and commercial baked goods, while saturated fat in moderation from sources like dairy or meat is debated. There's little debate that artificial trans fats are unequivocally bad for your health, especially for your heart and blood vessels. Trans fats are created through a process called hydrogenation, which makes liquid oils solid at room temperature. They are commonly found in things like margarine, shortenings, and are often used in frying oil and commercial pastries, cookies, and crackers to improve texture and shelf life. Even though regulations have limited their use in some places, they can still lurk in many products. Why are these fats so bad for erections? They are absolute champions at increasing your bad cholesterol LDL and lowering your good cholesterol HDL. This terrible combination significantly accelerates the process of atherosclerosis, the hardening and narrowing of your arteries we talked about earlier. More plaque means less blood flow. Simple as that. When the tiny arteries supplying blood to the penis are clogged up with plaque, getting and keeping an erection becomes incredibly difficult, if not impossible. Think of it like trying to run water through a pipe that's getting coated inside with grease. Eventually, the flow slows to a trickle or stops entirely. Deep-fried foods, whether it's chips, fried chicken, or donuts, are often cooked in oils high in saturated and trans fats. And the food itself absorbs a lot of this unhealthy fat. This not only contributes to arterial damage, but also often leads to weight gain and obesity, which themselves are major risk factors for ED. Excess body fat, especially around the belly, can disrupt hormone balance, including reducing testosterone levels. Furthermore, the high fat content in these foods can impair the function of the endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels, which is crucial for releasing that vital nitric oxide needed for erections. When the endothelium isn't working properly, blood vessels can't relax and dilate effectively. So, how do you navigate this? The good news is artificial trans fats are becoming less common due to regulations, but they can still appear in older or imported products, or in places that use certain frying oils. Always check ingredient lists for partially hydrogenated oil when it comes to saturated fats. The key is moderation in source. Instead of relying on fried foods, choose baked, grilled, steamed, or roasted options. Enjoy healthy fats in moderation from sources known to be beneficial for heart health, like avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil. If you're craving something crunchy, try baking your own potato or vegetable chips instead of buying commercially fried ones. When cooking, use healthy oils like olive oil or avocado oil instead of butter, lard, or shortening when appropriate. Making conscious choices about the types of fats you consume can have a profound positive impact on your vascular health and, consequently, your erectile function. It's about switching from fats that clog your system to fats that support it. Next on our list of erection saboteurs are excessive amounts of sugary drinks, particularly sodas and fruit juices with added sugar. We touched on sugar earlier. But these liquid forms of sugar are particularly insidious because they are digested and absorbed incredibly quickly, leading to massive blood sugar spikes. Unlike eating a piece of fruit, which contains fiber that slows down sugar absorption, drinking a soda or a sugary juice is like mainlining sugar directly into your bloodstream. The effects on your blood vessels are rapid and cumulative. These sugar spikes cause inflammation and damage to the endothelial lining of your arteries, the same lining responsible for producing nitric oxide. Over time, this damage makes your blood vessels less responsive and less able to relax and expand, which, as you know by now, is essential for an erection. Regular consumption of sugary drinks is also strongly linked to weight gain, obesity, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease, all conditions that significantly increase the risk of ED. It's not just the sugar itself. The sheer volume of sugar consumed this way is often much higher than what you'd get from solid food without feeling overly full. A large soda can contain more sugar than you should consume in an entire day. Sometimes even more than that. Think about the sheer volume of liquid sugar people consume without thinking, with meals, when thirsty, or just out of habit. Each sip is contributing to the wear and tear on your delicate vascular system. Diet sodas aren't necessarily a good alternative either. While they don't contain sugar, Studies suggest that artificial sweeteners might still have negative effects on gut bacteria and metabolic health, and the habit of reaching for a sweet drink remains. The best beverage for hydration and overall health is plain water. Adding a slice of lemon, lime, or cucumber can make it more interesting without adding sugar. Unsweetened tea or coffee in moderation are also fine choices. If you enjoy juice, opt for small amounts of 100% fruit juice occasionally. But remember that even 100% juice is concentrated sugar without the fiber of the whole fruit. Whole fruit is always the better choice. Cutting out sugary drinks is one of the simplest yet most impactful dietary changes you can make for your overall health, and specifically for improving blood flow. It's removing a direct, fast-acting source of vascular damage. Finally, the fifth food category that can significantly hinder erectile function, especially as we age, is excessive consumption of soy protein, isolate, and highly processed soy products. Now, let me be clear, fermented soy in moderation, like tempeh or natto, or even whole edamame, can be part of a healthy diet for some people. The concern arises with the highly processed forms found in many meat substitutes, protein bars, and supplements, particularly soy protein isolate. These products often contain much higher concentrations of isoflavones, plant compounds that can act like weak estrogens in the body. While the research on soy and hormone levels in men is complex and sometimes conflicting, excessive intake of these concentrated isoflavones, especially in processed forms, has been linked in some studies to potential disruptions in hormone balance, including effects on testosterone. Testosterone plays a crucial role in libido and is also involved in maintaining muscle mass and overall energy. While it's not the sole factor for erections, a healthy hormonal balance is part of the complex picture. Furthermore, many highly processed soy products, like those found in some vegetarian burgers or protein powders, are often manufactured using chemical processes and can sometimes contain anti-nutrients or other compounds that might cause digestive issues or inflammation in some individuals. And as we've established, chronic inflammation is bad news for blood vessel health. It's also worth noting that many processed soy products fall into the category of highly processed foods, which often come with other unhealthy ingredients like added sugars, unhealthy fats, and sodium, compounding the negative effects we've already discussed. If you're relying heavily on these processed soy products as a primary protein source, you might inadvertently be consuming other ingredients that are detrimental to your vascular and hormonal health. So, what's the takeaway here? It's not necessarily about avoiding all soy forever. It's about being mindful of the form and amount. If you enjoy soy, opt for traditional, less processed forms like tofu, which is essentially curdled soy milk, or tempeh, fermented soy. Use them in moderation as part of a varied diet. If you're looking for plant-based protein sources, explore other options like pea protein, rice protein, or hemp protein, and get protein from whole foods like lentils, beans, nuts, and seeds. Read labels carefully, especially on protein bars or meat substitutes. And be wary of products where soy protein isolate is a primary ingredient. The goal is a balanced diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods from diverse sources. Relying too heavily on any single processed ingredient, whether it's soy or something else, can potentially lead to imbalances or exposure to unhealthy additives. By reducing your intake of highly processed soy products and focusing on a variety of protein sources, you're supporting better hormonal balance and overall health, which in turn can support better erectile function. So, we've talked about refined sugars and carbs, processed meats, trans and excessive saturated fats from fried foods, sugary drinks, and excessive processed soy. You might be thinking, that sounds like half the supermarket. And honestly, you wouldn't be entirely wrong. Many of these foods are staples in the modern Western diet. They are convenient, often inexpensive, and heavily marketed. But here's the empowering part. Knowledge is power. Now you know why. These foods can be problematic. It's not just about avoiding them. It's about understanding the mechanism, how they damage your blood vessels, disrupt hormones, and promote inflammation, all of which are roadblocks to healthy erections, especially as your body changes with age. The good news is that the reverse is also true. By limiting or replacing these foods, you are actively improving your vascular health, balancing your hormones, and reducing inflammation. You are giving your body the best possible chance to function as it should. Think about it. Replacing a sugary soda with water is a small change, but over weeks, months, and years, it saves your blood vessels from countless sugar spikes. Swapping processed deli meat for lean chicken or fish helps reduce your intake of harmful fats and sodium while providing beneficial omega-3s. Choosing whole grain bread instead of white bread provides fiber that supports healthy blood sugar and digestion. Baking or grilling instead of frying reduces your exposure to damaging fats. Opting for whole food protein sources over highly processed isolates supports overall metabolic health. These aren't radical overnight shifts. They are gradual, sustainable changes that build momentum. You don't have to be perfect. It's about progress, not perfection. Start with one or two of these areas. Maybe this week, you focus on cutting out sugary drinks. Next week, you work on reducing processed meats. Small changes can make a profound difference in your health and happiness, and the benefits extend far beyond erectile function. Improving your diet in these ways will likely lead to more energy, better weight management, improved cholesterol levels, lower blood pressure, and a reduced risk of other age-related diseases. It's about feeling better overall, living with more vitality, and yes, enjoying a more fulfilling, intimate life. Remember that surprise I mentioned at the beginning. It's connected to all of these foods because they are often consumed in situations that involve another habit that can hurt your erections. Sedentary behavior. Think about it. Snacking on sugary treats while sitting and watching TV. Grabbing processed fast food on the go without any physical activity. Drinking sodas while sitting at a desk. These unhealthy foods often go hand in hand with a lack of movement. And a sedentary lifestyle is just as detrimental to blood flow and overall health as a poor diet. So, addressing these foods is a fantastic first step. But coupling it with even moderate physical activity, like a daily walk, can dramatically amplify the positive effects. Both diet and exercise work together to keep your blood vessels healthy and your circulation robust. You have the power to make choices every day that can either support or hinder your health and vitality. Don't let these common foods silently sabotage your well-being and confidence. Start making small, informed changes today. Your body and your partner will thank you. I hope this information has been helpful and empowering. What are your thoughts on these foods? Have you found that certain foods impact how you feel? Share your experiences or any tips you have in the comments below. Your insights could help someone else in this community. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more people who could benefit from this information. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos that can help you live your best life at every age. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. Make those healthy choices. And live your best life at every age.